Marhaba and welcome to Culture Capsule. I'm Samar Karam greeting you from Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE. Today we're joined by a movement specialist who has dedicated her career to help people move better, recover stronger, and reconnect genuinely with their body. Please welcome Cindy Khoo, a comprehensively certified mat and equipment Pilates instructor who's here based with us in Abu Dhabi. Cindy, welcome to Culture Capsule.
Thank you, Samar. It's a pleasure to be here.
Cindy, I'm really excited to have you today because we have a kind of history together. You're not, for me, just a guest. We had, friendship. We were neighbors. So today I feel very comfortable and happy to talk to an old friend. As I know you well, I know that you've been living here for 18 years. Now, if we look back at Cindy, who lived in the UAE for 18, if you look back, what changed in Cindy when she came first to the UAE and now where you are, where the place where you are now?
Well, when I first came here, that's easy, right? So when I first came here, I was 36. So you do the math. What's definitely changed is a lot more white hairs.
That's a very bold start. That's a very bold. I love it.
What's changed? I've raised my family. My kids have graduated here in Abu Dhabi. They've led their formative years here in the UAE. Abu Dhabi has been fantastic to us. It's allowed us as a family to really thrive. It's given us enormous opportunities that we probably may not have had. It's given us a lot of experience, a lot of depth. We've met so many different people, the community here, the culture here is such a melting pot. So, and I've also seen over the years as well, the promotion of women in sports. So when we came here 18 years ago, it was maybe not as widely promoted for women or Emirati women to engage in outdoor sporting activities, right? Because of the traditional, culture. And I totally and I completely understand that. But I think that over the last 18 years, for me as a person who's passionate about movement, I think it's been absolutely fantastic to see how the Abu Dhabi government and the UAE government has spent so much effort into promoting more movement, more activity for women as well as for the general population. It's fantastic now. You can get there are bike paths being built all around Abu Dhabi that will connect the whole of entire Abu Dhabi. There are definitely a lot more walkways and pathways where you can walk, you can jog, you can run. A lot more parks are being built that facilitate that. There's a new park actually near where I live where they've actually created a loop. It's about 800 meters or so, and it's air conditioned. I mean, it's air conditioned from the floor up.
Yeah.
I mean, how incredible is that? I mean, nowhere else in the world that I've traveled to that I've seen this huge effort being poured into getting people to move more.
When you came to UAE, were you? I know that you're a runner too. So were you cautious about? Can I put on pair of shorts and go running? Were you worried about what people will say, or was it normal that you put a pair of shorts and go out running and enjoy yourself?
So definitely, I must say, Abu Dhabi for sure has been very tolerant of expatriates such as myself, indulging in our sporting activities, and that requires us to run in like a tank top and shorts, running. So no, I've never felt super self-conscious about it because even when I go into a mall, I would put on like, a jacket or put
Yeah.
on pants over it.
Yeah.
But never, I've never felt restricted at
Or
all.
have somebody looking at you in a different way, or you felt comfortable.
Well, they may have looked at me in a different way in their car, driving past me. I don't know, but
Yeah.
no one's ever come up to me and
And
say,
tell you what are you wearing. Oh, yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's on the. Was it easy for you to have your sporting community like you're a runner? What started first, by the way, Pilates or running?
Um, let's just go back a little bit, way
Please.
back. So
Yes.
for me, I've always been passionate about movement. So for me, it's very easy to want to go out and play badminton, go and cycle, um, do yoga. So for me, exercise and movement is not onerous. It's not a chore. It's something that I genuinely enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So I've always been active my whole life. When I was younger, I was a sprinter, and I actually represented my
Yeah.
district in sprinting, but not
See,
into
this
long
is something I didn't know about you. I know you all these years and I had no clue. Wow.
But
Very
obviously, through the
interesting.
years, other things, other aspects of life took over, and I explored other forms of movement. Although at the time, I never saw it as this is movement, and I need to go and exercise. I've always loved to explore different types of movement activities. As it turned out, as I reflect now on my
Right.
younger years. So to answer your question, yeah. So running was something I did when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And then Pilates was something that I discovered about 12, 13 years ago.
So that's it, just 13 years ago. And so when you go for a run here, talking about the heat of Abu Dhabi, and you're very persistent. I know you run every single day. Is it easy? How did you form like a newly expat coming here, whatever kind of sport they are doing? Is it easy to find your community in that sport here in the UAE?
Absolutely, absolutely. My advice is if you're new to Abu Dhabi and you're into, say, tennis or basketball, I guarantee you, there's always going to be a group somewhere in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi that somebody else has formed a social meetup club for. I
Yeah,
mean, I use the word club very loosely, but you're always
yeah.
going to find like-minded people in your chosen activity. So from that point of view, it for me, it's never been hard.
Right, and you do activities together, you run together, you choose your events. Do you kind of arrange for events? Like, for instance, this month we're running. I know that you also run abroad. You do marathons, and so do you go? Do you have some of your friends who are living here in the UAE, and you travel together to do marathons somewhere else?
Absolutely. So there are loads of local sporting events here, and that's something that's also changed a lot in Abu
Okay,
Dhabi, right?
what's
So
that?
the last 18 years, I mean, when we came 18 years ago, I mean, there was
Right.
hardly any kind of running event and so on and so forth being organized, but that has certainly changed in the landscape. So now you have running events in a mall at Warner Brothers, for instance.
Yeah.
You they're running events in the hills and the mountains of Ras Al Khaimah, for instance. Um, I would say and then obviously being in a running club as well. So we're
Yeah.
always sending and sharing different running events either locally within the Emirate or
Or
abroad as well.
internationally.
So
Oh, that's
yeah,
that's
and
beautiful.
so that's one thing that I've absolutely loved with my running and with Pilates as well, is that I call it a runcation, or I call it a Pilatescation. So,
Nice.
so we identify maybe a ultra marathon in Cape Town that we want to attend, and we train for it, and we then travel as a group with a bunch of close friends, and we have enormous fun. It's just the best bond feeling that you have with your running teammates. And then similarly with Pilates as well. So I've traveled the world to attend workshops, to learn from people who know a lot more than I will ever do in my lifetime about Pilates. And it has been a very enriching experience for me.
Let me stop you here since you brought it up and tell me about your learning journey. So, I hear a lot about something called weekend certification, and it's not only in sports, it's in everything, okay? This weekend, we're offering this and this and this, AI, culture, sports. What's the difference between this and between what you're doing? You are certified with how many hours of certifications just to our audience? I know Cinda very well because we were both swim moms, and for those who are in the audience now listening to us or watching us, they know what are swim moms. Our kids used to be competitively in the swim teams. We used to wake up very early, take them to swim meets, do the training, and it's really hard. I'm saying that because training is hard. And Cinda, in addition to being a mom and a wife and an expatriate living in a new country, with a very big different culture, she also used to learn. Every time I meet Cinda, where are you going? Oh, I have that training. I have this course. So what's the difference, please, my dear friend, between a weekend certification and what you've been doing?
So for me, I feel it's really important to understand the basics and the foundation of Pilates. So for
Okay.
me, yeah, so for me, it's always been, weekend certifications, you're not really able to get really into the weeds, as we call it, into the real details of it, right? So for me, it
Yeah.
was important to find a training, a certification program that provided a lot of depth. And so, for example, I did my first mat training with Body Hack in Dubai. Absolutely great training company. And
Yes.
then I did my first mat training, and then I got a job teaching Pilates, mat Pilates. And whilst I was going through that process, I felt that, the time was right for me to undertake my comprehensive teacher training. So a comprehensive teacher training, basically, you have to learn the mat as well as all the equipment that is available in Pilates. So right
Goodness
now, I know
gracious.
there's a lot, yeah, so there's a lot of reformer type studios, and reformer is only one equipment in the pole Pilates repertoire. So it was very important for me to understand Pilates as a method, it's a system of exercises.
Yeah.
So this is why I did my comprehensive training, and I did it with BASI Pilates. Um, I was trained by faculty from South Africa, for instance, as well. The requirements were very rigorous. So it took me a total of about 18 months to complete my certification. um, I had to get a total of 500 hours, which included
500,
observation.
500, 500.
Yes, yes.
And that took you how many years to cover that? I mean,
In total, it took me 18 months to complete my
18
whole
months.
entire, yes, which then also at the end of it, once you complete your 500 hours, then you have to do a research paper on a topic of your choice. So I picked a client that I have been working on privately, and then the final
So
part is you do
it's like a thesis. This is like your
almost
thesis.
it's about 3 to 4,000 word research paper, and
Okay.
then it ends with your practical exams where they
And
watch you.
what's the benefit to all that? What that brings you to your work? How that can help? What
So
difference would it make?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. I get asked that all the time. So the best analogy I can give is, imagine if you're a mechanic,
Mhm.
and as a mechanic, you're only trained to work and fix one brand of car, say for instance, Mazda, right? So if a client then comes to you with a different brand of car or a slightly different method of operation,
Right.
you're then at a loss because you think, oh, I've only been trained in one equipment. So it's the same in Pilates. So if you're only trained in one equipment, it doesn't give you the holistic view about how the Pilates method fits in and works best for the client that's in front of you. Because not all clients' needs are always met on just one piece of equipment. So this is why in my classes, I like to blend them where possible, depending on my clients and how I observe them moving.
There's a say that say the client is always right, but I think that doesn't work in Pilates. The client might be coming first, but cannot be right. Like that will take me to a place like, okay, you're taking me to this machine and I do not like it. But you see that this machine is beneficial for this part of the body, for whatever the results that you want to take your client to. But the client is reluctant for some reason. We're human beings, we're all different. And he said, I don't feel comfortable working on this. How can you work on this client, to convince him? uh, how much of your work is muscles and how much percent of it is psychological, to work with people to get there according to their personality, according to their culture too, their background. I mean, Arabs were known that we're very stubborn. Some of us, they think that we know everything, so how do you go there and tackle to convince them that no, you should do this first and that next step?
Well, I've been very fortunate here in the studio that the type of clients who come to me, so I'm just talking specifically about my private clients who come to me. So
Okay.
usually when they come to me, they have a very specific need, right? So for example, it could be an injury that they're trying to rehab. They've completed their physio, but they're now ready to get to the next phase, not quite ready to join mainstream sports or CrossFit or gym for now, but they want to get themselves ready to that point. So they come to me. So they're usually very motivated. So that really helps a lot. So it's not like I'm ever having to get motivation out of them to get them to come regularly to classes. So that's always a bonus.
Mhm.
I work on my clients. I never force them to do anything that they don't want to do. But what I do is I build them up slowly, layer by layer. So
Mhm.
obviously every client is going to be different. Some
Yeah.
clients are more, confident movers. Other clients are less confident movers. So I have to use my experience. I have to use my knowledge about how the system and the method works to be able to apply that and introduce things slowly and gradually.
Exactly. Introduce. So, do you share with your clients their plan, or you tell them, okay, every time they come, we tell them we're going to do this, or like if you have, or you say no, I keep the plan to myself, and that's it.
Oh no, it really depends. Some clients they do want to know, like what's the rough idea, like what is the broad picture, what do you want to go for, and then other clients they do want to know a little bit more. So I do have a plan. I keep it on my iPad for my private clients. This is what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I plan out the classes for my private clients. I have an idea about what we're going to do. Obviously, that's going to change during the session because how they move and the feedback that I get informs me for the next session. So that's what we do. And then also like to give my private clients little bits of homework that they can do. So I either record them doing the exercises, or I record myself doing the exercises, and I'll send them the exercises and say, these are the homework exercises that you can work on that we covered in class today. If you can start to work on this at home, and then when you come through the next session, let me see how you move. Because I want to empower my clients to be able to help themselves and not to be completely 100% reliant on me. Yes, initially when they come to Pilates and they don't know much about Pilates, I'm there to guide them along the process. But eventually, the end game is I want my clients to be confident movers. I want my clients to know what they can and can't do, to feel the exercises, and really to empower themselves so that they are the engineers of their own bodies.
Out of all expatriates, who is the most motivated nationality?
That's really hard to say.
So what do you think? What do you think? Or if we talk motivation, what is the most nationality that needs pushing, or more motivation, or they lose their enthusiasm on through the way if they have a program?
Honestly, I would shy away from nationality, because to me, it's not about nationality. It's very much individual. It's very much the environment that they've come from. They may have had many health related type issues growing up, which may have impacted them as an adult. So
Right.
I wouldn't pinpoint a particular
Okay.
nationality. Although, just quickly, just a broad general, I mean, people who come from a culture where it's more outdoorsy tend to be better movers, or tend to be people who want to move, as opposed to cultures where maybe the environment is maybe either too cold or less conducive
Yes.
to outdoor activities. Then maybe it's harder to get them to do outdoor type activities. They
Yes.
might do more indoor type
Right.
workout.
So do you think that the Arabs are more tolerant to outdoor activities once the heat started, and the heat already started now? We are June, and we start feeling a gradual rise in the temperature. So do you feel that, for instance, those who come from hot countries, they tolerate outdoor better than those who come from, for instance, Scandinavian countries here in the UAE?
Yes, I do think so.
Okay, all right. So allow me, please, to take you back to culture and talk about our ethnicity. So you are Australian national, but you have Chinese ethnicity. Do you think that helped you get used to the hierarchical system here in the UAE, or you still feel that you are definitely an egalitarian?
What a great question, putting me on the spot like that.
Yeah, because we both come from a
Yeah,
hierarchical background.
yeah. No. So here's my take on it, right? So
Tell
I'm
me.
a Malaysian born Australian. So
Okay.
growing up in Malaysia, of Chinese heritage. So growing
Yes.
up in Malaysia, I grew up very used to having different neighbors
Right.
of different religions, different races. So moving here to Abu Dhabi was, I just slipped into Abu Dhabi life I took to it like a fish to water. I didn't feel, particularly that I stood out or anything like that. I was very familiar already with the Muslim culture of fasting, of Eid, being respectful during Ramadan year hours. Um, so for me, it wasn't an issue at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. With this, but also bringing Ramadan now, people are welcome to drink in public in the morning of Ramadan in the UAE. We've been becoming more and more tolerant, and it's really something that show how the UAE believes in coexistence and belonging as well. Cindy, why a business now? You've been living in the UAE for 18 years. When was the share with us and share with the expatriate ladies who are thinking of starting a business? Uh, when you said, yes, this is the right moment for me to start a business, I can do that.
Well, to be honest, that was
Yeah.
never my end game to start a business. It was the furthest thing on my mind, to be honest. I just basically started with, I did my Pilates certification, and then my friends started to say, "Hey, oh, you do Pilates? I have this issue with my back. Do you think you can show me a few exercises that you think might be good for it?" Basically, that's how I started. I didn't
Right.
start with the intention of starting a business.
Right, right. So, i- honestly, I think that you've delayed. I mean, I've seen you doing all this beautiful thing, and I was wondering, when are you going to start a business? Because you were one of the best Pilates instructors that I've seen, and you're very committed. So, starting a business, is it, again, let me put this in a different way. uh, do we have to understand certain elements properly in the UAE before we start a business? We have to make a proper research. We have to see what are the pros and cons of starting a business independently. Is that important here in the UAE to do so?
It is, it is. So, I mean, firstly, like for me, it just grew organically, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I started to work with friends, and then that passion grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So, follow your passion, fantastic. And then, if you want to start a business, really, you need to do your research,
Mm.
understand your business, what you plan to do, research the different licensing categories that are available in Abu Dhabi. And it's been a lot easier now because there's a lot more information. It's a lot easier to access the information on the internet, on their websites now. But then you really then need to go into the weeds, right, and understand. So if I go for this particular licensing category,
Yeah,
what does it entail? What does it require me to do?
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I would definitely say do your research properly.
Thank you, Cindy. This question is not going to be my question. This question actually was given to you by my previous guest, and we hope that you can share with our audience and listeners the answer to this question. Maria asked you, what were the biggest things that you learned from the nationals, I mean the UAE and of course the Emiratis, regarding the UAE culture that made such difference to you? So, what do you think?
Thanks, Maria, for that question. I'll answer it to the perspective that I bring to that question, and which is, yes, they are Emirati culture, and there are obviously cultural differences. But I think at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we crave family connections. We crave the support of our family, the community, and being very tolerant. And actually, although there are differences, I see a common thread that runs through all of whether it's Emirati people or whether it's from me or from Australia or from Malaysia. We're all humans and we're all the same, and we want the same things in life.
We do, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what would be your question that you're going to leave to my next guest, please?
It would center around communication, right? And how do you think we can improve communication amongst the different cultures who are living, working, and operating here in the UAE? Because obviously, somebody who comes from a different continent of the world, you have different ways of doing things. Some people, where their language requires you to be a bit more, the tone could be a bit more abrupt, but you don't mean to be abrupt, for instance, right? And then somebody who comes from, say, more an Asian culture where we're a bit more, softly spoken. How do you bridge those two, especially when it comes to intercultural communication type
I
activity?
love that question. Thank you very much. Can I answer it? Can I answer it? I love it. I love it. It comes to my. This is the. I'll tell you something in my own, in your own business language. This comes as one of my core values of my training. But I will leave it definitely for our next guest. And of course, Cindy, if you would like to know the answer to this question, please watch our next episode. Cindy, I really appreciate having you today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
And to my audience watching us now and or listening, thank you very much for your time and see you in another episode of Culture Capsule.